Welcome our another successful series of webinars presented by the Global Trade Chamber and the Successful Women in Business. Today we have a very important topic, especially for companies and entrepreneurs that are looking to expand to other markets, that are looking to bring your product to the US, specifically to the American market. So today we have a special guest, is one of our members. The company is Food and Brokers. They focus on bringing products to the U.S. And we're going to welcome our guest, Abby Frederwitzer. Welcome. He is the Executive Vice President of the company. And like I said, he is a member of the chamber. Welcome.
Welcome, Abby. We're very happy to have you. As you know, we've been promoting international business for many years now. And one of the topics that always comes up in that process is about food, because it's not a luxury to eat. It's something that people need. So it's one of the basic necessities in life is food. And we are not too familiar from other countries with penetrating the U.S. market with food. So your company, Family Food Brokers, has been around for years. And I'd love you to introduce the company more and yourself. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next slide. So Family Food Brokers has been around for 22 years. Okay, my name is Avi Friedwitzer. I'm the Executive Vice President. We are all about bringing innovative, one-of-a-kind, natural products to market. We now work with over 35 different countries. We feel that the place to find the most innovative products is not the United States. Is actually, we work a lot with Canada, we work a lot with Peru, Italy, Spain, France, the Middle East, including Israel, including Dubai. We work with Australia, we work with Vietnam, we work with Korea, just to name a few, okay? Ecuador happens to be very, very, very good to us. The European markets and a lot of the Latin American countries, we find they are so innovative, especially with certain products like chocolates, like oils, okay? A lot of our snacks come from some of the Latin American countries.
Welcome. Perfect.
So, okay. Next slide, please.
Ready.
I'm still on the first slide. Oh, okay. So, okay, just to finish before I go into this, a little bit about myself. I've been in this business for over 35 years. As a team in Family Food Brokers, we have 1,000+ years in retail, probably about 300, 400 in food service. Again, our idea is to take the innovative products from other countries as well as the U.S. and get them into the chain supermarkets, a lot of the mom and pop, smaller supermarkets or smaller chains, which is good for certain emerging businesses, as well as food service. And food service to me includes hotels, restaurants, caterers, universities, which is a very big part of our business, corporate America. And then we have the convenience stores, the 7-Elevens, the Wawas, the Sheetz, as well as hundreds of smaller chains throughout the country. Now, new businesses are created through the world every single day. Now, some grab a lot of brokers' attention. We're a little different than most brokers, okay? And that's why the food broker networks exist. Because emerging brands, manufacturers want to grab the attention of consumers. How do they do it? How do they get there? Food brokers help them create a plan for success in the U.S. We have an extensive range of contacts locally, nationally, and do a lot of work in Canada as well. And we have the expertise to make the products sell. Okay, we take all the work, okay, of selling and branding out of your hand, and in this way we save you time, energy, and money. Our manufacturers have to be worried about coming up with the quality product. We can help them do everything else. Next slide. Okay, why is that industry important? So, common misconception is that companies such as ours are simply providing consultation. That is totally not the case. We provide an all-inclusive package which includes consulting, pricing, packaging. Okay, pricing is very, very hard to put together the right price, especially if you are not a U.S. company. Okay, you have to add in the attorney charges, the customs charges, the shipping charges just to the U.S., the shipping charges from the U.S. to the point of destination. So this becomes very, very complicated. Packaging as well. Packaging is different in the U.S. You might have a similar packaging style, but I can guarantee the graphics that we're going to use, the way the barcodes are, the way the nutrition facts have to be positioned is totally different. People that have a out-of-country website usually need a U.S. website to engage the U.S. consumer. We work with PR, advertising, do a lot in social media and e-commerce, and help you with the freight, the discount, the spoilage, financing, and more. So, for example, when we sell a product, we build in 1.5%, okay, for spoilage. So that, in many, many cases, eliminates returns. Okay, we're here not only to help a company get its product on the shelf, but to help it get it off the shelf as well. Next slide. Okay. Okay, how to find a food broker. So once you decide that you need the services, so what should you look for in a food broker? The first thing we need to establish is to know what you want, so that when you meet with a food broker, you can be clear on your goals and expectations. So again, we really help you do that, okay? You need to tell us everything we can know about you, everything we should know about your product, from why you started the company, the quality of your product, the quality of the raw materials in your country, and we're able to then, through questions we're going to ask you, find out all the material necessary to help you along the process. So where do you meet brokers? A great way is trade shows. I personally do over 20 trade shows a year and meet probably thousands of manufacturers. But for every 100 manufacturers we meet, we probably take on 1 or 2 maybe of their product lines, because they have to be the quality, they have to meet up to our standards, and they have to be able to be a solid company in their own right. Now, that doesn't just mean that they have to be a large company. There are plenty of small emerging brands that are solid, that have the proper financing, have the quality product, have the production capabilities they need to be able to handle some of the larger accounts. So when meeting with a food broker, yes, it's important to ask lots of questions. We're going to ask you lots of questions. We want you to do the same, to make sure we're both on the same page, have the same vision for your product or products. Not all food brokers have the right expertise for your product. That's something that we make sure. We know that we're food and beverage. People bring us household items, toys, other things they want to bring into supermarkets or convenience stores. We, in 90% of the cases, won't take that on, because that's not where our expertise is. Our expertise, again, is food and beverage. And if we had to break it up, we do our most business in snacks and beverages. Why? because snacks and beverages can fit into any type of model. They can fit into vending, they can fit into convenience, they can fit into food service, they can fit into retail. Next slide. So bringing your product to the US market, export and import. So as I said before, though plenty of our products are American made, about half our lines currently are from outside the US, where amazing products are being created every day. So as I said, we source from over 35 countries, and we help you break into the US market. So we put together a individual strategic plan for each company that we work with and what they need to do in order to come and succeed in the US market. Now, we are very, very big on making sure, okay, that each company and each product line and each vendor is treated as an individual. There is no cookie cutter mode for us. We need to make sure that your line is treated in an individual way to make sure you have the best chance of getting into the marketplaces. So what do? We set a strategic approach for the US market. We make sure before we even take on a company that the manufacturing facility, whether it's their own or whether it's a co-packer, has a proper factory certifications, such as BRC, ISO 900, HACCP, to name a few. They have the correct packaging in the English language. Now, if they don't have that, we help create that, including US nutritional facts, proper graphics, like I mentioned previously. We also want to make sure you have an export attorney, a customs attorney, a customs broker, a logistics company, and warehousing. So think of it this way. If you're coming, let's just say from Europe, okay? We need to make sure, though your packaging may currently be in English, Spanish, that we have a package that is predominantly English, okay? And the nutritional facts meet the US requirements. Then, once we make sure that your product is good, how do we get it to the US and to sell them to the US? So you need an export attorney. You need to have a logistics company picking it up from your warehouse in a lot of cases, taking it to your port of choice. Then it has to be, most products will be shipped by boat, okay, especially from any other country, because shipping by air is totally non-economical and doesn't make sense when it comes to costing. So we want to get it on the correct boat through the correct carrier. We want to make sure that once it reaches the US, we have a custom broker to clear it. We want to make sure that there's a logistic company that can pick it up and take it to a third-party warehouse or warehouse that you may currently have in the US. And then we have a company that can warehouse it so that when a retailer or a food service operation wants to bring in a couple of pallets, they don't have to, quote, pre-order it from the US, from out of the US. They could just send their truck to a warehouse in the US. Now, we only tell you to bring in product once we have orders. So we tell the buyers that we usually need 60 to 90 days on the first order. So you can actually fulfill the first order, send it to the US, and send a backup of 50% with it as well. So if someone orders 8 pallets, you'll send 12 pallets to the US. It will stay in the rest of the product that doesn't go directly to the supermarkets will still in the warehouse. We'll be using to not only fill the orders from customers or businesses, but we'll also be able to have a fulfillment center where we could fulfill e-commerce orders as well. We also want any information on sales from the country of origin. Because if you don't have sales in the US, how do we get a buyer to even look at it? By showing that it's doing well in other countries. Next slide, please. Okay, so how to come up with the correct strategic approach. So, as we said, the US market is a very competitive market. We as a broker lay out a personalized approach to success. So including introducing and branding the product. So introducing means that we have a team of over 50 plus broker teams throughout the US, as well as our in-house staff in Lauderdale, Florida. And we use these salespeople, account managers, brokers, to help us assist in spreading the product in all different states in the US and Canada, and as well as in Canada, as well as not only introducing it, but they're the people with the connections. They're the people who already know the buyers. They're the people that can work outside the model. So we want to introduce the product, but we also want to brand the product. Because chances are that if you're coming to us from another country, you do not have your product in the US, and if you do, you're selling very, very minimal. So what gets you into a chain or a supermarket? The innovation, the quality of the product, etc. But what helps you stay? What helps you build your business? Creating a brand. That's how the companies like Heinz, like Kraft, like call it Haagen-Dazs ice cream, all Dipping Dots, some Procter & Gamble, they have created a brand, okay, because they kept growing brand awareness in the US. So we want to build an organizational structure. So that means you might be a small company, but still, you need to have a CEO. You need to have somebody that's handling the marketing. You need to have someone that's handling the sales, handling the logistics to make sure that we have everything we need to sell in the US model, to sell in the US market. Building a pricing model. So the way I tell companies is you need to figure out your own cost. What does it cost you by the penny to produce the product? That's the raw materials. What then does it cost you in labor? What is your additional overhead? Then you need to add your profit, and you need to add a commission which we charge, which a normal broker would charge anywhere between 5 and 8%. That creates your distributor pricing. Now, a distributor usually charges about 25% margin. So you would then divide that by 0.75. The retailer will usually charge somewhere in the 35 to 40% realm. So then you will divide it up into divided by 60, which will then give you your final price. No, this may be a little complicated, especially at the beginning, but we work through every point of this with you. We help you create sell sheets, PowerPoints. We'll send you sample documents. Our office staff will work with you on making sure it fits the mold of what we're using with our other brands and what has been successful. When you get into or present to especially a retailer, first thing they're gonna ask you is, after they know about your product line, is how are we going to get this to sell in our locations? So we need to have a marketing plan, a promotional plan, a social media plan. So for example, our marketing plan is going to be that we're going to, for example, use this amount of money for advertising, radio, TV, social media. We're going to put aside X amount for promotional money. That is to be able to, again, make the product sell in the store. And demo money. So demo money is to be able to show your product and give out free samples in the stores. Promotional money is so that we can offer beginning discounts. So call it, when you first get into a store, you want to reduce the price by 20 to 30%, sometimes by a BOGO, buy one, get one free. That way it's going to catch the customer's eyes. That's why they're going to try it at least once, probably twice when it's on this really good sale. And once they try it once or twice, in most cases, they're going to love the product. So if the price goes back to its normal price, they're still going to purchase it. And then we do quarterly discounts as well. Promotional plan also includes shows. So a lot of the retailers have their own shows. You want to be part of it. Have their own circulars. You want to be part of their circulars and sales bulletins. You also want to have a very good presence on social media, because social media is not only going to get the buyers to realize that, yes, you have a plan to help the product not only get on the shelf, but for people to purchase it off the shelf. That's what a buyer cares about. It's hard enough to get a product on the shelf. We want to make sure that product sells through. And a product stays on the shelves because of its sell-through. So, meaning how many times a product turns over a week or a month. So, if you're selling seven pieces of each SKU per month, that means you're doing 7 turnovers. Next, a strategy to get it on the shelf and off the shelf, like I just expressed, a US website. Now, it's also really important to have a US company. So you need to form a US company in the US. You go into biz.com and you're able to find how to incorporate. You incorporate, it is not expensive. You get an address in the US, which you could use your third-party warehouse. And now you have a company in the US. It is harder to get paid if you're not a US company. It is also cheaper to get your insurance, easier to set up a bank account as well. Next slide. How to set a sales plan. Okay, so part of our package includes setting a personalized sales plan. So that includes what regions of the US to pursue at first. So should you pursue the entire US at once? Should we go regionally? Should we just pursue the East Coast, the West Coast, the Southeast, the Northeast, the Midwest? Or are you big enough that we can have a whole team explore different states and different markets, and maybe even pursue the Canadian market as well, where we have a really good team of 11 brokers just in Canada? Do you want to go after distribution first? So that's a two-edged sword. So you need to get your products into a store. Now, most stores, most chains, let's just take Whole Foods, Publix, ShopRite, don't buy directly. They'll buy through a distributor. In order to get into the distributor, you have to have the stores. So any distributor requires you to have at least 40 doors, 40 stores, 40 places to sell. So in some cases, you need to get those 40 places before. In some cases, the distributor believes enough in your product to take it in if you don't have it. The same works with the chain. Some chains will believe in your product first, and then they'll tell you, okay, we use these distributors, and you need to go and make the deal with the distributors. Also, not everybody is able and has the structure, the financial ability, the production line to handle these large chains. So we go after the small retail chains as well, anywhere from the 10, I should say from the 5 to the 50 store chains also. The moms and pops, the 1 or 2, 3 store chains, or the individual stores. That's what we help you decide. The truth is, the larger the accounts you go after, the more money it costs to enter. As I explained before, the marketing, the promotional fees, sometimes there are free fills, which means you have to give a case of each product per store to enter. Sometimes they charge you what they call a listing fee, which could start anywhere from $500 and go as far as $100,000. And that again depends on the company. If you have a good broker, they really know how to negotiate these fees. Sometimes they could avoid them. There are certifications that you may have, other things that can help you avoid them. Next slide. So how do you approach a buyer? So for example, I said that we have hundreds of contracts, probably have thousands of contracts throughout the industry. But there's so many companies that you want to build a sincere relationship with. And you don't have all the correct contacts. You may have a grocery buyer's contact in Publix, but you may not have the bakery buyer. You may know a vice president, but the vice president could just get you in. Then you have to know the buyers who will deal with and make the decisions. So that's why we use a large team of other brokers, we call them co-brokers across North America, to build these personal relationships with the buyers. In order to approach a buyer, you have to be prepared. You can't just make a phone call. Hey, John, I know you're the head of snacks. Could you meet with me? John's going to say, why? I have no time. I'm too busy. So he needs to see a PowerPoint presentation detailing how your company was created, the market analysis, the social responsibility, the information on the product, the sell sheets, and other data each buyer may require, which is, again, more personalized to the buyer, more personalized to the company. So once you have a first meeting, most sales are not done on the first meeting. Most sales are not even done on the second meeting. We need to be able to follow up after the initial meeting. And follow-up is very, very, very crucial to make the sale. So we come in with all the information stated before, like the PowerPoints, etc. And then they need to and buyers express what their needs are to make a decision. Well, we need more statistics. We need a better marketing plan. We need to know, what's the best way for you to approach? Should we start you with just our natural store? Should we start you with our smaller store? Should we start you with stores in a certain region? We have to help the buyers with any needs they have, including getting them samples in order to close the deal. And how do you close the deal? One of the approaches is that you make sure it's fair for both sides. There's always negotiations to close the deal. And the most important thing is never take no for an answer. Now, I have a little different approach of doing things. If you have 5 items that you want to take into a supermarket, I will tell you to show the buyer 3 at first. This way, that in case he doesn't like them, or he doesn't like 2 out of the 3, you still have 2 in your back pocket that you can then show them, which may change their minds and close the sale. Next slide. So why use family food brokers? So while the industry as a whole is crucial in assisting small to mid-sized businesses, we have so many unique qualities that help us stand out. Next slide. Okay, what separates our company from others? And a lot of this I've covered already, but I am reiterating. Okay, we work with a network of brokers representing the 50 states, each with many years in the business and a track record. They handle specific territories and assign national and regional retailers, distributors, and food service accounts within that territory. We are more the type of broker that picks the correct team to handle each account, not just to handle the territory. For example, let's take Walmart, which a lot of you will know. We have a team of 5 in Bentonville, Arkansas, having their offices across the street of Walmart that are in the Walmart headquarters almost on a daily basis. And we choose them to work with us because we know they can get stuff done quicker being in their territory, being right across the street and already having the relationships. Most of our brokers are former buyers, merchandise managers, VIPs, I should say vice presidents, and even in a lot of cases, chefs for the companies that they represent. So once we get it into a store, let's just say a chain of stores, we need to find a team of sales representatives to go along with the distributors to make sure the product is merchandised correctly. Now, if you're going after mom and pops, you want someone to go with the distributors to help them sell and pick up each and every new account. So we have these representatives in the major cities across the US, and their specific task is building the mom and pop business, and then do ride-alongs with the distributors to the retailers in question and help them sell the products. We deal with 80 plus distributors besides the big boys like the KU, NFIs, DPI, Cisco, US Food, GFS. We deal with the regional distributors as well. The smaller distributors who handle specific markets, have impeccable customer service, have the relationships, and also don't ask as much from the manufacturer or vendor as the big distributors do. We have an inside sales team introducing your product line to buyers and merchandise managers. We have a category review team. This is really important. A lot of the big chains work by category reviews. So they review products 6 to 8 months out of the year, and they review different categories each month. So we have to make sure that we have everything prepared for the category review, which is very, very intensive, which requires lots and lots of preparation. And we have a team that works with you on that as well. And again, we have a large presence in social media using all the necessary tools to help brand your company and build sales. Just for example, we have over 100,000 connections just on LinkedIn. I personally have over 40. We have a lot of feeds from Facebook, from Instagram, etc. Next slide. So our presence in the market. So retail representation includes the natural and conventional retailers, like I explained before, the mom and pop stores, the spas, the gyms, the juice bars, the cafes, the boutique shops, the food emporiums, even the farmers markets, the convenience stores, the mini marts, the dollar stores, vending machines, etc. Food service includes the cruise lines, the airlines, the hotels, restaurants, caterers, hospitals, nursing homes, preschools, K-12, universities, stadiums, and concert halls. So, major clients. So on the food service side, we have the distributors like US Food, we have Cisco. We deal with places like the Hard Rock Cafe, MGM hotels and resorts and casinos. We deal with Rainforest Cafe. We deal with Morton Steakhouse. We also handle places like Applebee's, Chili's, TGI Fridays. Universities like NYU, like the University of Florida, like Harvard, Boston College, just to name a few. On the retailers, we deal with Whole Foods, Fresh Market, Fresh Time, Publix, Winn-Dixie, Giant, Ahold, Key Foods, Piggly Wiggly, etc. Wegmans. We also deal with the club stores, like the Costco's, the Sam's Clubs, the BJ's. We help you make the correct decisions. We want you to get the best results in a highly competitive business. Our motto is that we truly believe that manufacturer, distributor, retailers, and wholesalers are our employers. We don't make decisions for you. We help in making those decisions. The manufacturer, the vendor are the final decision makers. We guide you across the right path. For further information, you have my personal email, my cell number, as well as the company's numbers and website. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this presentation. I greatly appreciate your time, and we are open to questions.
Thank you, Avi.
Okay. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
I think you learned a few things in the past few years that you've been in the business, huh?
Haven't I? Yeah. And I still learn every day. Okay.
I can imagine. This industry changes constantly.
Right. And
Constantly.
You need to understand that. Everybody needs to understand that. You can't believe that you know everything about this industry.
No, it's impossible.
Now, I mean, the industry is changing as a whole in front of our eyes over the last 4 months and will continue to do so.
Imagine.
And if anybody tells you they know where it's going, they really don't, okay?
They don't.
It's changing from day to day. I mean,
wow.
How many of us will be doing Zoom calls and webinars 6 months ago when now I'm doing 6 or 8 a day on Zoom calls, okay? We're actually having Zoom calls with the manufacturer, the broker, myself, and buyers instead of going face-to-face with them. And that's how things are going to continue.
Yes.
A lot of things are going to be done more by Zoom, by the internet. E-commerce sales, as you guys probably know, Amazon sales in a lot of product lines have increased over 500% since the virus started.
It's mind-boggling.
Right, and we don't even see that going down. Even when retail food service opens, it might diminish a little bit, but there's still going to be more and more online customers that won't go back to the retail stores, at least not for a while.
Yep. And same thing with the restaurants, Avi.
Oh, yeah.
People don't want to go. They want to get everything delivered.
And that's why my daughter went to Hollywood Beach yesterday. So usually there is a Ben & Jerry's store there. Nice.
Oh, yeah, I know where it is.
Right now, they have a cart outside and no business in the store. Store shut down. So they could be selling. Nobody has to go in. Nobody has to be in a crowd. They could come up, get their ice cream, etc. And that's how a lot of places are changing.
Yeah.
People that never did retail before, people that never did retail before are stocking more items. The Starbucks, the Dunkin' Donuts, they're stocking more retail items currently. That's amazing. Again, we need to go with the times and learn what our customers want. Not what we want to do, but what our customers want.
This is the time, Maria, that because of what's happening, companies need companies that know what they're doing to try and get their products. Years ago, you could go and knock on a supermarket store, talk to a buyer, and possibly get an opportunity. Today, you have nobody to talk to at the retail anymore. They don't talk to you. So your service is invaluable. People have no idea how important it is.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have Maria ask you some of the questions that we've had asked. So go ahead, Maria.
Yes, and also at this time, we're going to open the chat for people that wants to ask questions to Abby regarding the presentation. And also we're going to be sharing with everybody their contact information for you to follow up with them if you have specific questions. One of the questions that somebody sent us is about the time, because you mentioned several steps that companies need to go through before they import the products to the American market. So what is the average time frame? Is months? We're talking about how long?
It really depends on how dedicated the company, the manufacturer is in getting the product into the U.S. There are sometimes we can do everything in 30 days.
Wow.
That's fine.
Yeah, right. because as long as they have their information ready, we can get someone to redo the packaging quickly, to put the graphics on. Custom brokers know how to work quickly to get the products in. So it's as long as you want it to take, or as quick as you want it to take. Because companies may call me and they want to bring the product to the US, but then when we give them the list of things to get done, they might take 6 months to do it. Some other companies know the importance and the urgency and get it done right away. And just to add to that, Maria, it's really important that they do it as quickly as possible, because products are copied every single day. What may be innovative today is not going to be innovative tomorrow. So they might have this great idea, it takes them 6 to 12 months to get to the marketplace. That idea won't be a new idea anymore. And we find this all the time, that sometimes when a company is starting and says, yeah, we have a great product for the US, by the time they get there, they have to change their product already because it's not new anymore.
Absolutely, and that is true. It's happening every day in any sector. The technology one day
Right.
is, the technology good, but next day is obsolete. So absolutely, you're right on that. Another question is about the price. People all the time is concerned, especially entrepreneurs that are trying and thinking about bringing the product to the American market. How much is going to cost me? This is going to be so expensive that I cannot export. So I know that it's not like a flat fee, but it is expensive.
So it can be. It really depends on, again, what type of growth you are looking for and how quickly you want to grow. So I advise the companies that come, to have a budget, usually between $25,000 to $50,000, to have for the first 6 months to hold them over. Now, we will not go, in most cases, unless you're a huge company, to the big chains first. We're going to go to the smaller chains that don't have an entry fee, that don't cost you too much money. We're not going to do a big marketing and advertising program at the beginning. We're going to be using a lot of stuff that are free to us. Certain PR, certain things, just like what you provide, the services you provide that helps get products known. We want them to spend as little money as possible, but we also want to make sure that they do right by their brand by doing so. So another thing we do is, let's just say Whole Foods. Whole Foods has 500 stores. You might not be ready for 500 stores, but you might be ready to go into the Florida region, which has 30 stores. And what I like to do is, over the first 18 months, I like to put together 10 huge accounts that you go after, but you start with a test in each of them. So you might start with 30 stores. You might start with 50 stores. This way, you're building a tower. You're building a pyramid. So though you might be starting on the bottom floor of the pyramid with Whole Foods or Walmart, after the first 6 months or year, you might go from 100 stores to 300 stores to 500 stores. In the next, by year end, you might be at 1,000 stores till you're in the whole chain. And again, we try to work with the buyers that they allow you to go at your own pace. And we try to make the expense as little as possible. And as we said in our presentation, we help with certain things. We're able to help with companies, and that's why we need them to be a U.S. company, to get factoring, to get bank loans. So if you don't have the money to fulfill the purchase orders, which is the most important thing, you can get it. You can get 80% of the money for production from a bank loan, from a small business loan, from a factoring company.
Yeah, we have trade finance at the chambers, so that's very helpful.
That's perfect, yes.
Yes. Now, another thing that a lot of companies that we have talked to in the past ask is, what is the minimum amount of product I need to have on hand? Because a lot of these companies, we don't know if they're really geared up to handle a good size order. So how do you help them determine what is the amount of, and if they're ready to produce the amounts that they need to produce.
Excuse me 1 second. Okay, so again, that's really based on many things. First of all, what size facility do you have? How many square feet is it? What is your production capabilities today? Okay, can you produce, for example, are you producing 1,000 units a day? And then how much of that is already being sold? So if I'm producing 1,000 and I'm selling 1,000, then I have no room for growth to take on new accounts.
Yes.
If I'm producing 1,000, my capabilities of producing 10,000, then I'm at 10% of my capabilities, and there's great growth. Or I might have a larger facility and only using a portion of the facility so I can grow.
Mm.
Or I may be producing in-house and I need to have a co-packer to help me fulfill the orders. So it's part of gathering of information,
Right.
and that's why it's an individual strategic plan. So we don't want you to handle more than you can, because that's how you feel. We want to position you at the beginning and know everything about you to make sure that you can do what you're able to, and then you have the growth aspect to it as well. So yes, you might at the beginning produce in-house, but you do have a co-packer ready to go if you get a big order.
Good. That's excellent news.
Right.
Yeah, you mentioned also that you
I have a
work
question.
with beverage. Is the liquor included?
Explain what you mean. I'm sorry.
Like you can also bring liquor from other countries?
So liquor, okay.
Yes.
Alcohol, there are rules and
Alcohol,
regulations.
yes.
There's different regulations for every country, okay? There's different regulations in every state of the United States regarding liquor.
Wow.
Okay,
Really?
in most cases, you need an individual liquor license per state. In some states, you could only use one distributor.
Yeah.
In some states, you could use many. Okay. Most of the alcohol products that we deal with are U.S. products because it does get very difficult from out of the country. We also have to remember one thing I didn't even get into is the dollar exchange. Like, for example, in Canada, okay, Canada, the U.S. dollar, okay, is $1.40 Canadian money. Okay, so if we're selling something for $1 here, they have to sell for $1.40 in Canada, which makes them necessary to have the correct margins to do so, because otherwise they won't be able to work with Canada. Now, sometimes if they're working with Canada, we tell them, you know what, either get a co-packer in Canada, and that becomes much cheaper, or ship directly to Canada without entering the U.S. market, so you don't have the same deterioration of the dollar. So again, that's why individual, okay, consultations, and we will speak with any brand and give them an individual consultation at no charge, okay, to make sure they are right for us as a broker and they're right for the U.S. market. Some people will say, hey, you're not ready yet. You need to get these things done before you're even ready to go to the U.S. I mean, some companies come to the U.S. without sales in their own country. And why are they bringing the product here if they can't prove concept where they currently are? So there's a lot of, again, but it all depends on the product, depends on the ownership, the management of the company, etc. What their vision is. It's not only our vision, it's their vision as well.
Yes, you mentioned something that I believe is relevant to ask. I believe that based on the services you provide, you can also help American companies to distribute the products, because not necessarily the American companies have all the components to start distributing to supermarkets. They also need help with the marketing plan, with the sales plan, the packaging, even with the approval of the FDA and all these steps, right?
So we work with, like I said, half our companies are American companies. I was focusing this presentation on the international companies because we know that's a major focus of the global trade,
Yes.
so of your chamber. And that is why we've done it. We did this type of presentation. But of course, we work with U.S. companies.
That's great.
And U.S. companies it is a much easier process, okay? Because we don't have to worry about the export. We don't have to worry about a lot of the statements, a lot of things we discussed today.
And the
Another thing
regulations,
is,
the
right,
regulations are horrible.
right, correct. It also works another way, that sometimes we are exporting products to other countries. So we just did a nice deal with a distributor that handles Dubai, okay, based out of Canada, that they're picking up products in New Jersey and they're taking them to Dubai to sell in all the convenience stores in Dubai. So there's opportunities as well for American companies to go outside of the US too. And usually we start that process with Canada because we know the Canadian market really well.
Sure.
But we sell into Costco Japan. We sell into Costco Australia. Besides Costco UK. We're selling to Subways in the UK and Canada. So we're able to open up a lot of other doors, not just in the US.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Hi guys. Hi Avi. Great presentation. This is Gavin. I just wanted to understand a little bit from a matchmaking standpoint. How are you able to sort of match opportunities between buyer and seller? Is it that buyers advise you, okay, this is what we need for our shelves, this is a type of SKU that we're looking for, go get me a supplier that meets these requirements, or like supply does it work?
I'm not sure, Abby, if you were able to
I wasn't able to get a
understand the question.
couple of little pieces, not the whole question.
Yeah, Gabby, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What I wanted to know, Avi, was do the buyers in your network tell you specifically what they need, and then you go find manufacturers to fulfill that need? Or is it that the opportunities come to you from manufacturers and then you then present opportunities to buyers directly? I was just wondering, is it sort of like buyer-led opportunities, or are they manufacturer-led? How does your business?
That's a fabulous question, Gavin, and thank you for asking that. It actually works both ways. So buyers are always looking for new and innovative products. So as long as we have something different than what's on the shelf, it's easy to show it to I shouldn't say it's easy. We have the ability to show it to a buyer. That's why buyers have category reviews in a lot of situations. So this month, let's say they're looking at oils, they're looking at spices, they might be looking at condiments, and they're giving an opportunity to look at other companies that are out there, not just the big companies. They're looking to maybe change something on the shelves. So that's why we present at all different times to all different buyers. But we do have a large network of buyers that know that we are looking all the time for innovative, one-of-a-kind natural products. So they will call us on a monthly basis and say, Avi, what do you have different? What can you offer me that I don't already have? What do you have new from last month or the month before? So it works both ways, Gavin. But I would say in most cases, we're the ones that will initiate it, not the buyers, predominantly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Avi,
Yeah.
one question that came up is we do have a lot of contacts in Latin America, and they were wondering if you have Spanish-speaking staff at your office. Or what other languages do you have?
Okay, so we have actually 3 or 4 people that speak Spanish. Okay,
Great.
we also have, through our context, though they may not be in our office, we have French-speaking people, we have Italian-speaking people, and even if they're not in our office, because of technology nowadays, we can have an interpreter on the phone, and we do that all the time, especially in Zoom meetings.
Oh,
So there's yes. So when we were dealing with Spain the other day. So we had Leah interpreting in our office the conversation, but the manufacturer also had someone Spanish speaking on their side to make sure we could understand it. Because the worst thing is to be able to miss any information
Oh, sure.
on both sides. So we want to take the necessary precautions to make sure everybody understands, and we will let you know before the call what is necessary, and either you will get it on your side or we will take care of it.
Okay, I would just want to make one final comment here, because we've been working with you now for some time. We find that a lot of industries, it is very important to have a U.S. company and address. And as you know, we have virtual offices here at the Trade Center, so we're here to help your companies get the address and also the corporation. So we have already companies in Europe, Latin America, and other countries that have virtual offices here. So that's a great service that we can help you with, Avi. But
You know something? I did not know that,
yes,
or
we've
maybe
been
did not
doing this
remember that, and I'm glad you mentioned it because that will be a great help. Okay, so they don't need to establish a U.S. quote company themselves. You can help them with it, and you could
Yes.
provide a physical address. Okay, instead of getting a third party or
Absolutely.
having to get a building or whatever.
Yes, we have companies here from several countries, but also other parts of the U.S. that want to have a presence in Florida. So the virtual office gives them all the benefits of having a U.S. address and without the cost of an office. You know how expensive it is to get an office. So
And
we're here for you.
especially nowadays, even American
Yes.
companies are going away from the offices because most people are
Amazing.
working at home and they need a virtual office. So I think that's great. Are you able to also provide third-party warehousing
We
for?
can find the warehousing. We work
Okay.
with several real estate companies. And we also have a conference and a seminar room where people can come and meet their clients when they're in the United States. So it's a full service.
So that's why this is a great partnership
Yes.
between us and your company as well, because we have those needs all the time, and you're able to fulfill it. So yes,
And we're in the same area. We're not far from each
right.
other,
We have to have
offices, so it's
we
perfect.
definitely have to have further conversations about
Oh,
that.
we
as well.
will. We will.
Absolutely. This was, with no doubt, one of the best presentations that
Yes.
I heard. Very informative, especially for people that wants to start expanding to other markets. They want to bring the products to the U.S. Please visit this company. Again, we're going to put all the contact information. However, Abby, can you please tell us one more time the phone number and the website so they can visit?
Sure. I also want to say that I'm giving out, and Maria's going to give out my email address. You could send me emails with any questions, and I will reply to them. Okay. It doesn't have to, even if you don't want to do business right now in the U.S. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to help. Okay. That's what partnerships are all about. So
Beautiful.
again, the company name is Family Food Brokers. I'm Avi Friedowitz, the Executive Vice President. We're located in Lauderhill, Florida. Our phone number, I'll give you my cell phone because, as you know, most of us still working out of the home. So it's 954-662-6702, 954-662-6702. Or you can reach at the office at 954-735-6219 or 739-3399.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Abby, for this wonderful presentation. For all our viewers, remember that you can call Abby, ask questions, don't be afraid. Just take the first step, because if you don't ask, you don't know if you can do it. So take that step. If you're thinking about the idea of exporting product, or you think that you're ready to do it, just call Abby and you're going to find out. He's going to help you with all the steps, but especially he's going to guide you the first time at no cost for you to understand if you are ready or not to export. If you're not ready, They're gonna tell you what to do next. So thank you so much again for watching this wonderful presentation. Thank you, Abby, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you
Take
so much.
care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.